Now close to 1,500 people still are without power in Gloucester. Crews are working around the clock to get people there out of the dark. 13 News Now reporter Nico Clemens found out how much longer neighbors may have to wait.
Tonight, thousands of people still in the dark across Hampton roads.
They said Monday was the day.
In Gloucester, close to 1,500 people still without power. That's the most in our area. The sound of generators echoes throughout the Carters Grove subdivision. That's where I found Paul Walton.
We're out of water, and it's kind of tough.
He and his wife have been without power since Thursday night.
We've basically been just going to work. We have water and electricity there, which we've been using.
And people I've talked to say the front half of their neighborhood has power, but the back half does not.
I hope they put the electric back on.
Eugene Jennings' power also went out last Thursday. He has a generator like some of his neighbors, but he's not sure how much longer it'll last.
Yeah, I thought my generator was going to stop working because it keeps tripping.
Dominion Energy crews are out working to restore power to the area. Power is expected back on in Gloucester before the day is over.
Branches were falling over. Some trees came down outside the neighborhood.
The National Weather Service confirms 2 tornadoes touched down in Gloucester, both not too far from Walton's home. Tonight, Walton is grateful.
We've been through this before. We kind of manage.
He knows this could have been much worse. In Gloucester, Nico Clemens, 13 News Now.